A lot of controversy surrounds Einstein's letter to his daughter in regards to who the actual author is. And what I want to propose in this short discussion is that it actually doesn't matter whether Einstein wrote it or whether it was someone else who chose to paraphrase Einstein and claim that the exact words were from Einstein himself. The reason I say it doesn't matter is because if anyone in this world wishes to research the official book of Einstein quotes, which you can obtain free in PDF form from the Princeton University Press, they'll actually find amongst these quotes that Einstein would actually agree with about 99% of what was written in the letter which Einstein was said to have sent to his daughter. And the reason I argue that is because there is one quote which Einstein made officially which makes a case for this argument. Einstein claimed that the philosopher Spinoza's God is the God in which Einstein looks up to. But here's the thing, who is Spinoza's God? Spinoza's God is not that which sits separate from humanity. Now let me explain. Spinoza's God is not a God which creates something separate from itself. Because in Christianity, the view of God is there is God, and then there is creation which sits outside of God. Now, if we want to look at this scientifically, we can see the contradiction within many people's views of God. Many people will say God is eternal, but they don't realise what does eternity mean. Well, if God is eternal, and if we understand what eternity is, even from an energetic point of view, nothing can sit outside of eternity. You see, this is Spinoza's God. This is Spinoza's argument. Nothing can sit outside of eternity because eternity is all there is. And if we accept that eternity is God, then nothing sits outside of God. All there is God. You see? Now, what does this mean in terms of creation? It means this: whatever God creates, God becomes. That's a big difference from God creating something separate from God's self. God does not create and then sit back. God becomes what God creates. Now, furthermore, no one even questions what or who is God. People say the word God, and then they assume that it's something separate. There's no questioning as into the nature of God or what exactly is God. No one wishes to discuss this matter. God is the one divine source energy, a conscious energy, an intelligent energy which runs through all of creation. And you can look in any Bible throughout the world, in any religion. God is associated with love. God is unconditional love. Because we always say love runs through all things. Well, of course it does, because love is God. But what we need to realise is that not just human beings, but everything in the universe, physical and non-physical, throughout all dimensions, is created by God. And what I mean by that is it's created by love. That's Spinoza's God. And we know that Einstein said that his God is Spinoza's God. That is a true quote. That is a quote which can be referenced and sourced from the Einstein Book of Quotes from Princeton University Press. Now, when we understand this, we can then look at the letter which Einstein allegedly wrote to his daughter and realise that no matter who wrote this letter, the words in that letter is in accordance to Einstein's own beliefs, which he officially admitted.
I make the claim that the eternal body of man is the imagination, and that is God himself. You hear the word God, the word Jehovah, the word Lord, the word Jesus, the word Christ, and you think of something other than yourself, one that is greater, one that you would worship. Tonight it is my purpose to show you that God and the eye of man are one.
At the summit of thought is its having brought forth the sky and the earth. That is the new translation of the first sentence, of the first pasuk. The subject of the sentence is thought, machshava. Where do we get that? Because it says Elohim. Take away your biases, take away your all kinds of education, take away your religion and everything else. And here we have a word in the text, okay? What is it? What's the definition? So from other contexts in the Chumash, it's been taken to be God, El, the highest being, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, but in the text itself, in the Gan Eden story, the Nachash gives the definition of Elohim in the story. He says, you'll be like Elohim, Yodea Tov V'Ra. Okay? So, it turns out that upon analysis and a construction, Elohim in the pasuk is machshava, thought, what we would call mind.
You are accurate when you feel that you are that which is God, both from your physical and your non-physical perspective. The combination of you and all of the rest of us is what God is, because God is consciousness that is expanding. Sometimes humans feel unsettled about that because there are so many who have been happier seeing God as just an exaggerated version of man, someone very much like man, but just bigger and hopefully smarter, and with all of the answers. And so, in the process of making that image of God, man has subverted his own image of self. In other words, he has humbled himself by making this distinction of this superior God, which makes him the inferior mortal. And on that basis, man has separated himself from that which is God, which is sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? People have said to us in gatherings like this, Abraham, you have disrupted my image of God. Some have even said, Abraham, you do not talk of God much, and I want to know why that is. And we said, we don't talk of anything other than what you call God. In other words, we are that energy.
Here's a little passage on the imagination. If then you do not make yourself equal to God, you cannot apprehend God, for like is known by like. Leap clear of all that is corporeal, and make yourself to a like expanse with that greatness which is beyond all measure. Rise above all time, and become eternal. Then you will apprehend God. Think that for you too nothing is impossible. Deem that you too are immortal, and that you are able to grasp all things in your thought, to know every craft and every science. Find your home in the haunts of every living creature. Make yourself higher than all heights and lower than all depths. Bring together in yourself all opposites of quality, heat and cold, dryness and fluidity. Think that you are everywhere at once, on land, at sea, in heaven. Think that you are not yet begotten, that you are in the womb, that you are young, that you are old, that you have died, that you are in the world beyond the grave. Grasp in your thought all this at once, all times and places, all substances and qualities and magnitudes together. Then you can apprehend God.